Check it out. Tier 100, easy peasy, no problem. Look how fast we can go, super speedy. Belial? So I'm gonna go through the gear, I'm gonna go through the skill tree, the abilities, the Paragon board, I'm gonna go through all of that stuff. And give you the best version of this build that I have. It's a slight iteration of Rob's build in the beginning of the season. I'll put that build in the description. And this build or this video is going to be in the description of all of my future streams or videos or anything like that. So the reason I'm making this build is just because it seems like there's a lot of confusion in my friends list, in my clan, whatever. Random people in the trade chat, like I've been getting a lot of whispers, a lot of people asking me about my build, like how in the hell are you doing all this damage? Like why are you able to kill Belial with ease? Like no problem, why can't I do that? So yeah, I'll pretty much just kind of go through everything as quick as possible and help you guys to where you'll be able to do tier 100, do all endgame stuff like no problem, as well as how to be the fastest sorcerer possible. So let's start off. You want the Harlequin or the Burglass just for the cooldown reduction. Ideally you want the star on the cooldown and you want to masterwork it. I got lucky, I got all that. Yeah. For your chest, you want the shroud. Ideally, you want it on resource gen or all stats, and then you want to double or triple the resource gen or all stats, just because you want to keep your resource up for your hydras, because your hydras take away your resource. So this is what all of your resource generation is going into, and also because you're two-handed, this is what's doing all of your damage. It deals increased damage per mana you had when summoning. So ideally you want full mana before you summon your hydras. Okay, let's go back. Our gloves. So you're gonna want a star on the core skills because you want a bunch of ranks into your core skills. As you can see on my star list too, +7 core skills. I'm trying to get +7, but it's impossible on these. I spent like 100,000 Obdicite just on the boots alone. So don't feel alone when it comes to masterwork and the legendaries. You also want the flash fire because you're using the critical strike on your hydras. We'll go through the skills after all of this, for all of our gear. You want barrier generation just to help like in the pits. You can change it to something else. It's not really needed for barrier generation. You could have lucky hit or whatever. Then you want hydra damage to pair with it. Ideally you want intelligence and armor with it just until you hit the max armor cap. I can probably change this out and still have around max. I'll probably change it out for maybe critical strike damage or something. Down here, you want the axial conduit for nothing else but the resource gen and the resource maximum, because you can get this up to like 86% or something if you triple hit it. Right now it's at 80%. Even without hitting it at all, it's at like 50%. It almost doubles all of your resource generation and maximum resource. So that's the only reason why we use the axial conduit. We don't use chain lightning like at all. We don't really care for anything besides, I guess, the damage reduction is the only other cool thing on it. Going down to our boots. Now this is how we be fast. Is you want attacks reduce evade cooldown by 1.5, and then you're gonna want to temper evade cooldown reduction. Try to get it maximum. Mine's not even maximum. And then you're gonna want to triple masterwork it. And you might go crazy doing this because I for sure did. I probably spent over 100,000 Obdicite trying to triple masterwork the evade cooldown reduction, and I finally got it yesterday. Pretty much whenever I got the amulet. So, anyways, you want that because you're gonna use teleport for your evade, and that's how you forever go. We'll go through all that when we go through the skills. Then you want lucky Hydra lucky hit chance. I got lucky with the max. Then you're gonna want intelligence, armor if you need more armor. If you don't have the Shaco to give you the more armor and you need to hit the max, intelligence, armor, and then mana per second, or intelligence max life, mana per second. Yeah, I just got the double, so I just made the mana per second for the last thing. You want that just to help with your mana generation. Let's go down to the staff. Your staff, you're gonna want intelligence, critical strike damage, and then up to a chance to restore primary resource, because this is gonna be a big thing that's helping you restore your mana. like super super quick. And you want it on a two-handed, just because the two-handed aspect does a shitload more damage than if you were to do anything with a focus involved. And then something that I still need to do that you're gonna want to do is the thing on the bottom. The castrated hydras have plus 10 heads. You can get that up to plus 12, and that's ideally that's what I'm going for, because the amulet. You want hydra damage on it too. Blah blah blah. Let's go up to the amulet, because hydra is now a core skill. For each head above 3 that it would have, the hydra instead grows larger and deals up to 100% increased damage. Ideally, you want the GA on Intelligence and Primordial Binding, or either or. I would say probably Intelligence the most, and then try to do what I did. If you can, hit 2 on Intelligence or 3 on Intelligence, and hit 1 or 2 on Primordial Binding. That'll probably be the best for you there. And then our jewel that we have in there is the summon one, of course. After you injure or kill an enemy, your summons are empowered to grow larger. Okay, let's go down to the ring. You want cooldown reduction on your Talrashes for sure. Try to triple it if you can. This one isn't even perfect. I have a perfect one in here that I need to change out, actually. 25, yeah. Anyways, and then the jewel for that is you want to deal more elemental damage. 20% more, you take 10% more, yeah. And then your Starless Skies. Ideally you want the star on the core skills just because it's more ranks of Hydra. Because this is making Hydra a core skill. First thing it says. And then for your jewel, you want the one that gives you more primary core stat, more max life, all of that stuff. Kind of annoying. You don't want to be standing around in dungeons like AFK. If you have this, you got to remember to go to town, because I've come back to my game and been dead a couple times. You know, especially if you're in hardcore, don't use that. Okay. The first skill doesn't really matter. I just do Firebolt and then one in the enhanced. You want to go down and grab 3 in the Devastation, because this is just more max mana. And then 3 in Elemental Dominance, because Hydra turns into a core skill. You don't grab any cores, go down to Teleport, and then you want to get the damage reduction just for the pits pretty much, because you're always evading. And then you want to put this on your enchantments down there, along with Familiar, but let's go down. You want 3 in a Glass Cannon. You want to get Ice Armor, and then you can switch between either one of these. Shimmering is if you just want to spam your Ice Armor and like never die, just always have a barrier, you can get that. Or if you want to do a little bit more damage, because you do a 15% increased damage to frozen enemies, which are just CC'd enemies, I do that. You can switch it back if you're doing like pit or whatever. So let's go down to Hydra, put 5 into Hydra, of course, and then go up and get the Critical Strike Hydra, the Invoked Hydra. So that's another reason why we're using what we're using on our gloves for the aspect. Grab Ice Blades, and go over to Roaring Ice Blades for the cooldown reduction. You want to grab Lightning Spear, and then I went up to Collecting Crackling Energy increases the damage of your Lightning Spear. You don't really need this. You can just go with Lightning Spear just because you're just wanting to do lightning damage to invoke your ring over here. So you don't have to go all the way into Lightning Spear, get some other passes or whatever, but I like doing that just because my Lightning Spear will kill enemies now, so it just helps with crowd clearing. 3 in a Primordial, 3 in a Mana Shield. You could take some off of this if you want. I don't, just because I like to do pit and whatnot, and I'm pretty unkillable. And Familiar, you want to do Invoked, just so you're doing more increased elemental damage type. And then, of course, put that on your enchantments down there. So go down, get 3 in a Inner Flames, 3 in a Devouring Blaze, because Hydras are a Pyromancy skill. And then go into Ball Lightning and grab this. This is how we're getting our Crackling Energy, because we're going to be using this. You deal more damage while you have Crackling Energy. And then pretty much we spam Ball Lightning. You could put this on whatever button just to hold down while you spam the evade button if you want. I have Hydras on that button. I can switch them out. And then you want to grab more mana when you absorb crackling energy. So that's helpful for your mana. Get 3 in the elemental synergies, evocation, 1 in the coursing currents, just so you can get that convulsions, because that's your crackling energy damage. Killing a burning enemy increases your mana generation. You could get more of that. Now, your ultimate, you want to change these out. So, Inferno, I only use this all the way maxed, just 1 into Inferno. I only use this if I'm doing tier 100 pit or like high pits, or if you need more damage, just because it says your pyromancy skills deal 50% increased damage. So that is going to help you do way more damage in the pit if you're pit pushing, or if you need more damage for a boss. But what I do instead, if I'm just going around trying to speedrun stuff, is I do unstable currents, just because of this right here, the attack speed. Because the more attack speed and the more evade cooldown reduction you have, the faster everything goes. Your attack speed also translates over to your Hydras, so keep that in mind as well. Okay. Oh, finally, you want Isu's Ferocity for your key passive. Next thing is a Paragon board, I suppose. I'm only level 229, so if you're higher than me, you'll have more. If you're lower than me, just try to get out the pathing first. I'll go through it, and I'll like sit there for a second so that you can pause the video if you want to pause it and copy me, or if you just want to go through the video quickly and get the glyphs and the boards. So first glyph is going to be Eliminator right here. You can also switch this out if you want to. You can switch this out for Conjurer, because this gives more critical strike chance, but this is going to be better just for pits, just because it's 10% instead of no damage increase. So if you want the more critical strike damage, if you don't have 40%, that's the lucky number here, is you want 40% critical strike chance. If you want more critical strike chance, you can put the Conjurer glyph in instead of the Eliminator glyph, and that'll give you more chance just until you hit 40%. Now the reason why you only want 40% is because if you go down to here, both bonuses against all enemies, so this is just 40% more, so that's 80%, and then that's pairing along with 20% more that you get from the Hydras, so that's 100%. So as long as you're hitting that 40% on your critical strike chance, you got 100% critical strike chance. So that's another reason why you don't need to put any critical strike chance on your gloves or none of that. Like I don't even need the GA on my Star of the Skies. So if you don't have 40%, put Conjurer instead of Eliminator. Okay, so our next board is gonna be Searing Heat. This is more critical strike chance too, 15%. Now go down to the glyph, is Tactician. Here, you pause the video right there if you want to copy the board. Now, next one is Ceaseless Conduit. And then the glyph is going to be Destruction. And if you want to copy the board, pause it right there. Now, you can go up or right. It doesn't really matter. We'll go up first. So if you go up, it's Enchantment Master, and then the glyph is Elementalist, and you can pause it right there if you want. Alright, let's go over to Elemental Summoner is the one on the right, and the glyph is going to be Pyromaniac because it's a Pyromaniac skill, Hydra. Pause it right there if you want. Okay, so that's our 5 boards for the Paragon. Now, your mercenaries. Your mercenaries don't matter too much. You just kind of want to... You can get Subo. I like Subo the most. I would use him regardless, just because he gives you a UAV on your minimap. So you just want to go into the fire stuff with him and that left one. And then for this guy, you want Ground Slam, I believe. Yes. And you can put that on your Hydras or whatever. That just helps a little bit, pulling people in, I think. Physical damage, whatever. They don't really help that much, honestly. And then, last but not least, your Roderick's. So you're gonna want Smoldering Ember as your infusion, because burning damage, burning damage. You want Cosmic Anomaly as... Oh, that's on the wrong one also. I need to put that on there, yep. So, you want Cosmic Anomaly just because of summons, you know, summons. You want Bottled Wind for the barrier, like Infinite Barrier. You want this for more max resource generation, the Reactive Ooze. And then you want Bloody Charm for the attack speed, pretty much. And to be able to execute mofos. And what you want to use is Elixir of Resourcefulness, because this is just more max resource, and all of your damage is pretty much coming from this two-handed. So you just want more max resource, and you pair that with more max life, more intelligence, more max resistance, blah blah blah. And for your glyphs, you want the Nagu Lum, because you maintain active summons all the fucking time, and then you restore primary resource by maintaining active summons. And you want to put topazes in your chest and pants, or whatever, put that in whatever. And then you want to put 2 glyphs in your weapons. You don't want no emeralds or nothing, because it's not going to be beneficial. And then you're going to want cervix. You want cast 5 skills, and then you gain +1 to all skills. So that's all of your skills, including Hydra, which you get up to like 23 ranks of a Hydra if I were to just have these gloves done. And it's just ton of damage, billions of damage. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll put links in the description and whatnot. Like and subscribe if you want me to keep fucking Diablo in and teaching, and yeah, thank you.